So like I was saying, you have your straight line. This is the start of the sell, and this is when you close, okay? So every time you ask a question on the call, whenever the customer starts talking, and obviously like that's a natural way to get people to talk is you ask them something, okay? So again, being in control, you direct the conversations by the questions that you're asking. So when it comes to straight line selling, when you ask a customer a question, we'll call it here, and they start answering, some customers like, for example, the gentleman with the tape measure earlier, when he's like responding, he's like here, and then he's going a little further. Now he's finding his tape measure. Now he's rounding to the nearest 3/4. You know, he's off the line, and it's our job as salespeople to bring them back down to the line, because the sell is here. The sell is not up here. The sell is not down here. The sell is here on the line. So it's like as you ask questions, and this can go in either direction. Let's say that a grandma mentions that they're moving because their granddaughter just passed away or something crazy like that, because I know you guys get crazy stuff as well. She may want to, and this would be like a negative because it's a bad situation, she may want to continue to talk about the granddaughter, and as much as we want to allow them to do that, it doesn't really help us get to the end of the sale, okay? So it's like, it's our job as sales professionals to manage this, like how far up here and how far down here they get, and bring them back to the line as quickly as possible. So this is just a visual representation. So every time your customer is like just going on and on and on, they're getting further and further and further away from the sell, which is on this line. And then again, it's just our job to ask questions and guide them down the process to get to the ultimate goal, which is them giving us their deposit, right? So that's just a visual representation. Just push
One thing I want to add too is relationships are so important, like relational selling.
That's good right there.
So something that he just said, he was like, you know, if you ask someone what has them moving and it's something that's sad, like their daughter passed away, their grandparent passed away, or their parent passed away, whatever it is, or even just whatever it is, we have to think sometimes outside the box. So for example, like this is where ownership comes in, right? I have a client that pays X amount of dollars a month, and the only reason that he did business was because the first time I ever talked to him, he said, hey, I'm tied up at the vet, we're having to put our dog down, can I call you later? And I was like, perfect. And I was like, really quick before we hop off, where are you based out of? And he was like, oh, I'm in Houston or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Houston, yeah. And I was like, cool, what's your address super quick? I'm just gonna shoot something over there. And he was like, okay, gives me his address. I'm like, cool, hey, I'm so sorry about what you're going through. I'll talk to you soon. And I went on flowers.com, 1-800-Flowers.com, ordered him some flowers and had them sent to his house, right? And that was the only reason that guy called me back and did business, because now it was almost like, although that was a really sad moment and his family had to go through that, it was like he owed me, right? He was like, well, you just went out of your way. No one ever sends somebody flowers, right? Sometimes we have to think about this. This is where ownership comes in within a business, because you guys want repeat business, right? And this may be like above, but this is just how I operate, because I love relationships, and the more hands you shake, the more money you make, right? So for me, like I'm always gonna over deliver on every single thing that I do, right? Like something small, like Tim wasn't expecting me to bring shirts, wasn't expecting us to print name badges out, wasn't expecting us to bring books. That wasn't in our agreement to do any of that.
Video.
Or videoing it. Yeah, I never told him that we were gonna do that, right? But I wanna make sure that no matter what situation I put myself in, I over deliver. And we may think that that's extreme, but only extreme people get extreme lives, right? So for me, it's like if I get someone on the phone, and even though I'm just a moving company, I can spend $30 to go to 1-800-Flowers.com. And the cool thing is I already know where they live, and I can ship them some flowers, right? Those are things that, like, they may not always have good news. They may not always be a congratulations. It may be like, my condolences. We want to make sure that we take care of you, and like we're going to go above and beyond for that client. Always exceed their expectations.